Father Calloway thought the church was empty. Then, one night, the candles lit themselves. The Church of St. Thaddeus had stood for nearly 200 years. Built on the ruins of something older, it had long since fallen out of use. The congregation had left, the sermons had faded, but Father Calloway remained, tending to its hollow halls, refusing to let the faith die entirely. But in the quiet of the night, when the wind howled through the rafters, he sometimes felt as if he was not alone. Then the prayers began. They started as whispers, faint, rhythmic chants that seeped through the stone walls. He dismissed them as wind, as echoes of his own thoughts, until the pews were no longer empty. One night, as he prepared for bed, he passed through the nave and froze. The air was thick with the scent of burning incense. The great iron candelabras above flickered to life on their own, golden flames dancing without a single touch. Figures sat in the pews, heads bowed in silent prayer. Father Calloway's breath caught. The church had been abandoned for years. No one had come for service in over a decade. He stepped closer, heart hammering in his chest. The figures did not move, their hoods drawn low, faces hidden in the flickering candlelight. The robes they wore were tattered, moth-eaten, and stained dark with something old and dry. The air grew heavy, oppressive. Then, as one, they turned their heads toward him. A deep, guttural voice rose from their midst, chanting words that burned his ears, twisting in his mind like something alive. "We have waited." The ground trembled. The stone altar cracked down the middle, revealing something beneath, something buried long ago. The figures rose, their robes slipping away. There was nothing beneath them, no skin, no bone, only shadows in the shape of men. A shriek of wind howled through the church as the thing beneath the altar stirred. Father Calloway stumbled backward, clutching the crucifix around his neck. His lips moved in prayer, but the words faltered, his voice failing him. The shadows moved closer. He turned to flee, but the heavy doors of the church slammed shut. The candles flickered violently, their flames stretching unnaturally high. The whispering grew into a chorus, voices overlapping, chanting, pleading, demanding. "He is awake." A terrible pressure filled the air. The thing beneath the altar shifted again. A hand, long, skeletal, made of darkness itself, emerged from the cracked stone. Fingers stretched, testing the air. Father Calloway tried to scream, but the sound was swallowed by the shadows. The last thing he saw was the figures kneeling as one, arms outstretched toward the altar, voices rising in a prayer that had no God. The church was found empty the next morning. Father Calloway was gone. But every night, the candles still light themselves, and if you stand in the doorway, you can hear them chanting, waiting for the next sermon to begin. Some faiths never die. If you enjoyed this story, like, subscribe and turn on notifications, but never enter a church that prays without a preacher.